Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed live from Los Angeles. I am Jason McIntyre here with superstar wide receiver Greg Jennings, Chris Broussard, Rob Parker. We got the dream team in here, ladies and gentlemen.
I know, we can chop liver.
He's looking like a superstar today.
Well, you're a former. You don't play anymore. That's all. I'm not knocking it. You play.
You shooting at me already?
Already. The last time we were all together, I just want you to remember, you guys shouted me down that I told you the Lakers wouldn't make the playoffs last year.
Stop.
You guys all shouted me down.
There was this little thing called LeBron James getting injured. Are you making that claim this year?
No, I'm just going to say they're not going to make
off the top rope before we're even into the first topic. All right, guys. We got a lot of good stuff today. Should the Cowboys go after Rob's buddy Tom Brady? Did the Rockets get worse at the deadline? But first, we got to start with LeBron and the Lakers, of course. From strained relationships with management to heated encounters with coaches, LeBron's had some ups and downs with the operations of his teams throughout his career. Those days, though, seemingly behind him. And during the Lakers game against the Warriors Saturday, our own Chris Haynes revealed LeBron is getting more comfortable with every passing day and added, the connection with the front office and ownership group is the best he's had in his NBA career. This comes after the Lakers missed out on making any noise at the trade deadline. Chris Broussard, we are going to start with you. Do you believe LeBron here?
Yes. There's no reason not to believe LeBron. Number one, let's go back to his past. His first trip in Cleveland. He's a young player. He was just getting in the league and playing. He's not involved with the front office and things like that. Even when Mike Brown, his last year there, the first stint, they wanted to know, do you want Mike Brown to stay or not as head coach? LeBron didn't get involved. He let them figure it out, and he stayed out of the fray. So that's his first step. Miami, Pat Riley didn't want players involved in the front office. That bothered LeBron a little bit, so he really just was a player there. And then Cleveland, his second stint. Dan Gilbert, we know the ownership. That was strictly a business transaction. He didn't have a good relationship with Dan Gilbert, but he wanted to bring Cleveland a championship and win one for himself in his hometown. So if you look at those three situations, of course, this one is much better. That's number one. Number two, in the past when LeBron has complained to front office, demanding trades or asking for changes to the roster, it's always been when he didn't have a second star. Okay, in Miami, when he had D. Wade and then Chris Bosh as the third guy, you didn't hear, there was no big stuff about LeBron wanting, more players added to the roster and things like that. And then in Cleveland, you didn't hear a lot of that stuff until Kyrie Irving left. His last year there, he wasn't complaining when Kyrie was there. He's left with Kevin Love as his second guy, who's really not a second guy on the championship team. So that's when he started saying, we need more help. LeBron is like many superstars who put everything into their craft. They want everybody else doing the same thing. If he feels like the front office or ownership is all in on trying to win, he's not going to complain. His problem with coaches in the past, like Eric Spoelstra, initially LeBron felt Spoelstra was unproven. But Spoelstra carried a swag about himself that said, I'm a champion, I've already won it. And that's what rubbed not only LeBron, but some of the other players the wrong way in Miami initially, and then they got over it once Spo was proven. Same thing in Cleveland. David Blatt, no track record in the NBA or even American basketball for the most part. And he had a swag about him, though, like he has done it. He has been there. And that's what rubbed those guys the wrong way. Now with Frank Vogel, he hadn't won a championship, but he's proven himself against LeBron when he was in Indiana with a lesser talented team, giving the Miami Heat all they wanted. And now Vogel, no swag, just comes in, does his work, knows all that he needs to know for the players, and LeBron respects that. So I totally agree with what he said and believe it.
I don't believe 1 ounce of it. This is, again, trade deadline came and went. LeBron wants to save face. They didn't get the guy, and you can poo-poo Marcus Morris all you want.
I will.
Rick Bucher was on this very show and said he would be in Los Angeles and with the Lakers by
What's
the end of the
that
day.
mean,
No, I'm just saying that they were interested and that they had conversations.
Okay.
They didn't get them because they didn't pull the trigger. My point is, don't act like they didn't want anybody or that wanted to add to this team. No, but I'm just saying, but they wanted to add to the team. They're not set. And the other thing is just another excuse so that when LeBron doesn't win, they'll be able to go and say, well, what do you want them to do? Look at what the Clippers did. Look at what they went out and got at the trade deadline. The Lakers stood pat, and now you're asking him to win, and he don't even have anybody. We've been through this movie before. You had your time, Chris Broussard. And here's the other one. The last time they were in Cleveland, his last year, you remember at the trade deadline, they made 3 different trades. They brought in 19 players to reboot the team. LeBron stuck his chest out. I got enough to win now. Did they win? No, they didn't win because they had Rodney Hood and George Hill and Jordan Clarkson and Nance. Remember all those moves? And nothing happened. They got no better. All I'm saying is I'm not buying. I'm not saying that there's a feud going on in the front office, but nothing happened. I told Chris before the season started on the radio show that if it was one front office I had to count on to go get a player at the All-Star break, did I not say that before the season? I said I have more confidence in the Clippers than the Lakers, and we saw it play out.
I remember that because that's the one right thing Ralph said this season.
Yeah, I believe LeBron here, and a lot of reasons why, but this is my reason why. When you're number 1 in the Western Conference, you're 39-12, your team is sitting atop of the Western Conference. We've seen the talent that's in this conference. You're good. You know that you're good. You know that you have configured a team that can win. It's been proven over the span of the first half of the season. We see that. Now, you have an opportunity to get better. You don't. But what I like about what LeBron is saying and what he's identifying is just because we didn't go get a Marcus Morris or it didn't work out or Andre Iguodala or Derrick Rose, all these names that we thought that they were going to try to get, it didn't work out. They didn't. What we didn't see is them make a stretch and just try to reach and get any kind of player just to suffice and make LeBron happy. No, we have enough. And you are the reason why we are enough. You and Anthony Davis, the all-star, the talent, they are enough.
Here's where Greg is right. Listen, you keep saying they need someone else. So I want to ask you, do you want Marcus Morris? As he said, as Broussard said, are you giving up Danny Green, who has played in 140-something playoff games, who was nearly the finals of the MVP in 2013 when he was on fire with the Spurs? Are you going to give up
nearly MVP?
Yeah. Danny Green was
the bottom line is against the top 4 teams in each conference, they have a losing record, Greg. Those are the teams you face in the playoffs. Chris Broussard knows this, and he's said it time and time again. They don't have enough closers at the end of the game. And you know it, Chris.
We'll get to that. He's not a closer.
They don't.
Marcus Morris is not a closer.
But I'm just saying,
15-minute-a-game guys.
They were looking for another closer because, we've seen Anthony Davis thus far this year, against the Clippers, a total of 4 points in 2 games. He has way fewer shots in the fourth quarter than during the other 3 quarters. And LeBron is the only closer they have. They needed to add somebody else.
I want to stay on the topic. And Rob Parker, ask you. You're jumping on LeBron for saying he's fine with the front office and ownership. Yet if he were to come out and be like, this is ridiculous, we didn't get anything done, if he's sending out Instagram stuff and Twitter posts and all that, you would be killing him.
No, I'm not saying that.
He's saying we have enough. He's now, whether you and I agree or not with it, he believes.
Do you think they have enough?
I don't think they're the favorite. I think the Clippers are the favorite.
But do you think they have enough?
They have a chance
to win the championship the way they are now.
I think the Clippers are better, but they have a chance, no doubt. And who'd you want them to get? You don't. If you give up Kuzma and Danny Green, I agree. I would have given up Kuzma straight up for Marcus Morris. You couldn't because financially. I give up Danny Green probably straight up for Marcus Morris. But both of them, I bring in Morris. Now I create another hole by losing Danny Green as my 2 guard. So
just so you know, you think the Clippers somehow got better player at the deadline with Marcus Morris, who's having a fluky season with the Knicks, his best season.
Fluky, whatever you want to call it. Those are the numbers.
What did the Las Vegas odds say?
I don't care about the Las Vegas odds.
Oh, you don't care about the Vegas odds? Yeah, Vegas knows nothing.
Because
the Clippers and Lakers are still plus 300 to win the championship. Nothing changed.
I get they have 2 of the 3 best players, but it's more about a team. And when you look at the piece that the Clippers just added, he fits in perfectly. He's a dog. He's a hard player. He can put a body to AD. He's not going to stop AD, but he's another guy who can do that. That's all I'm saying is he fits into what the Clippers are doing. I love the move.
With the Clippers, but he doesn't fit into the Lakers, as
Lakers
Chris said,
wanted
for
him.
Kuzma and Danny Green. Doesn't
they
make
just
sense.
didn't want to pay that.
What should they have done, Rob?
Yeah.
I mean, since LeBron should be all upset because
I didn't say he should be all upset.
Well, that's what you seem to be saying.
I don't buy that. The fraud. Oh, this is all great. We're in tune with each other. Everything.
Why not?
They were looking to make a move, and they didn't make one.
29 other teams were looking to make a move too. What are you talking about?
But they need to make a move because we've seen them against the best teams. Their record is fraudulent. Go look at it. They're under
LeBron
500
is not
against the
unrealistic.
best teams.
He's not sitting there saying, "Oh, they didn't get me Zach LaVine, so I'm upset." I mean, what were they supposed to do?
They could get Dion Waiters.
Make any money?
Dion Waiters is now out there. Maybe they'll go get him, and you'll be happy.
He's a playmaker.
This is why you acquire or you bring in Anthony Davis. And you're talking about they don't have closers. And you kill me with this closer statement because you said this about, the Boston Celtics last year and Kyrie being their closer.
Oh, I don't remember saying that.
We saw what happened with them. But every team doesn't have the luxury of having
your imagination.
Every team doesn't have the luxury of having 3 to 4 guys like the Clippers. That's a luxury. When LeBron James won in Cleveland, how many closers did he have?
2.
In Miami, how many closers did they have?
2. Ray Allen closed one.
Ray Allen definitely did close.
Oh, okay.
Now, how many closers do they have?
They have 1 closer in LeBron
How many closers do
Anthony Davis?
Anthony Davis isn't a closer. And Chris
Rob,
So wait, how many do the Clippers
Is he a
have?
closer? He's not a closer.
They need to begin making him a closer.
He's not.
They're not going to him enough in the fourth and use these regular season games to get him used
And
to
he
being
has to get the ball from somebody. He can't take the ball and end the game. He's not.
Rob, let me just go with a true or false question.
So the
best player a front office has added to LeBron's team ever, any team he's been on, is Anthony Davis.
LeBron added Anthony Davis. Stop with the front office.
The Lakers made the trade.
LeBron did that.
LeBron did that.
LeBron's the reason that they're where they are. Because
he's nothing about no front
great,
office.
And then he got Anthony Davis.
Of course.
Let's keep that
The
real.
addition of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
Everywhere
that wasn't
he went,
front office done. That was LeBron
never added
James.
anyone of that
But
level.
you think he's upset with the front office?
No, I didn't say that. I just said he's just saying everything's great, but I'm
Isn't
deep
that
down.
better?
No, I'm
Should
not.
he
I'm not saying he should throw a fit. I don't believe that if they were able to get not only get Marcus Morris, it would be taken away from the Clippers. So not only did you not get him, the team you're trying to beat just got the guy that you wanted to get. That's what I'm saying.
I just think that's a different topic.
For me, when we look at a player like LeBron James and his status and everything that he's accomplished and done and the things that he say, he's not going to make this type of statement about a front office if he doesn't believe it. Like, this is not what players do when they have this type of power and this type of status. They don't say, you know what, the front office and I are in tune. No, if there's friction, they're going to send subliminal messages, and we would know that there was friction or they were not in sync or in tune.
I think that was bad for one reason, because obviously they have the best record in the West, so it would be hard to come out and say that. But that doesn't mean you're going to win or you have enough when it comes down to a 7-game series.
That's a separate issue, and that's our opinion. But LeBron may very well feel like we are the best team. And look, the one year that a LeBron James team underachieved was drastically underachieved was last year, right? When they were 4th in the West in the playoffs on Christmas Day, and then they don't even make the playoffs. And as you've pointed out, they lost some bad games. Dallas, they underachieved when his first year in Miami, but that was on LeBron. That wasn't really on his teammates. So last year, he recognized he messed up the locker room when he started talking about Anthony Davis and trades and all that. So he may have learned from that situation. Look, bringing this drama is not what's best for this team. So I love his approach this year where he's like, look, we're going to go out and play every game hard, try to win every night. I'm not criticizing and complaining about my teammates.
Mark my words, when they lose, I don't even know they're going to get to the Western Conference Finals for sure, but once they lose, LeBron minions will all be, what do you expect? They didn't get him any help. Look at what the Clippers did. I guarantee you that'll be the narrative. Not that he had Anthony Davis, right? That's the second best player in the league. Not that they, whatever. It'll be that he didn't have enough.
But are they
the Clippers
You're
were
saying they
deep
don't
enough.
have enough. You're saying right now they don't have enough.
No, they don't have enough.
Rob,
That's
so
what they need.
you're one of his minions?
No, I'm just saying that's
you're
what
saying it's legit.
No, that's what they're going to use.
In 5 months when people say it's not enough, you're going to be ripping it.
They got 2 of the 3 best players in the league.
You're saying it's not enough.
I'm telling you it's not enough.
So why you going to kill
Who would make it enough? Let's keep it basic. Who would make it enough? Don't tell me 0-time All-Star Marcus Morris would have made it enough, okay? He's not a game changer. You just watched the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes keyed that comeback for the Chiefs. Stars win. Stars win in the playoffs. Darren Collison ain't flipping the tide for the Lakers over the Clippers.
How come LeBron's lost 6 championships if stars win?
LeBron's won 3 championships.
Okay.
He's lost to major stars like Steph Curry,
He's
Kevin
a star.
Durant,
He's the biggest star. He's lost 6
Yeah, there's stars on the Clippers.
But
The Lakers have
stars lose
stars.
too if they don't have enough around them.
So you're saying you giving him excuses?
I'm not. I'm telling you, that's the excuse. No, they got the best record in the West, and they'll go through all that, and everybody will talk about it. But when it comes down to it, every time he loses, it's never about LeBron. It's about everybody else, and it'll be. Kyle Kuzma wasn't consistent enough. Kyle Kuzma wasn't really a finisher. That'll be what it's about. Or Danny Green didn't show up in the playoffs, and Danny Green didn't make the shots. It'll be about those 2 guys.
Nobody blames role players, Rob. It's all on the stars.
Hold on.
Kevin Love didn't
in
deliver.
2011, LeBron got blamed. Or 2012 when they lost to Dallas. He got blamed.
But what is he not doing this year that you would say this is on LeBron?
I didn't say that. That's not what we're talking about.
So I'm with Chris. Everything that you're saying about his minions coming out and saying what you're saying.
I'm telling you what
you're already saying.
Because they believe that
spent 5 minutes saying he doesn't have enough. He should be upset with the front office.
No, but I'm telling you that
they didn't get him any help.
But he has the best record, and most people, 2 of you, believe that he's going to win the championship.
Yes.
So when they don't win the right? You're
They'll
saying
lose. They'll lose.
right?
I do.
So when they lose, what you're going to use?
Well, you gotta see what
Danny
happens in the
Green
games.
and Kyle Kuzma as the reason why.
No,
That's all I'm telling
Not
you.
if he gets outplayed by Kawhi or whatever.
It won't be
If he
because
doesn't
of him
deliver.
and AD. Watch.
The way he played in the first 2 games against the Clippers, if he plays a 7-game series like that, he'll get criticized.
Yeah, he is also 35 years old.
It may be that he's old. I mean, that's not just an excuse. That can be an explanation.
It's not like he's load managing like Kawhi Leonard in November, okay?
It's okay.
LeBron's
if it works out and they win a
35 years old.
championship, nobody will care about load. It's all about winning.
Yes.
So if it works for them, it worked in Toronto, and if it works again, and he wins 2 championships back-to-back years with 2 franchises that had never won, right? Kawhi Leonard will be a hero, and nobody will care about load management.
Of course. I agree with that.
Nobody
You
will.
got to do that if you
Y'all
load
finally
manage.
agree with me.
You better win.
About
My
time Rob
goodness.
Parker finally settles down from his losing.
See, I deal with this every day on the icon.
Chris,
3
man, I
hours
applaud
today.
you. Way to go through with that. He thinks Darren Collison and Marcus Morris are flipping the tide.
I don't know.
I don't disagree with
You
some of
mentioned
what he
Derrick Rose.
said
You're a
about
Detroit
getting-
guy. Should LeBron have gotten Derrick Rose?
All I'm saying is, then why is Jeannie Buss having dinner with Collison if he doesn't matter? Why were they even entertaining the idea of trading Kyle Kuzma if they didn't believe that somebody else could come and make a difference? Remember, LeBron and them were like, no way are they trading Kyle Kuzma to New Orleans under any circumstance, right? So we went from that to now all of a sudden he's available.
Well, I think that was before the dynamic of what they thought it would or could be with Anthony Davis. Now, whether they think Kyle Kuzma hasn't developed into the player that they want, which that typically is, and he hasn't, then yes, you would look out and look for somebody else and say, this player might fit and give us that edge that we're looking for that Kyle Kuzma has not given us.
Remember,
I'm
Kuzma
just saying-
put up 18 a game last year in his second year in the league. That's incredible.
In games that didn't matter, there's a difference. You could put up shots in games
Oh, you mean like
that.
Marcus Morris with the Knicks
I'm
right
just
now.
telling you, those games didn't
So
matter
this year,
last year.
Kuzma's struggling a bit. He's down to 12 points a game, 30% from
Minutes
deep.
are way
but
down, too.
it's because Anthony Davis is there. They have a totally new team, basically. Kuzma's adjusting. He's a young player. You got to have some patience.
LeBron is not unreasonable. In the past, he's created drama. He's not unreasonable. He understands. We wanted to get Iguodala. Iguodala got traded. They can't get him. Okay, we wanted Darren Collison. He's decided not to come back and play. We wanted Marcus Morris, but we couldn't trade Kuzma for him because Kuzma doesn't make enough money. So I don't want to give up 2 guys that we need for one that's pretty good. So LeBron sees it. We knew going in they wouldn't have the pieces and assets to change the team without the buyout market. And again, we'll see if they get Deion Waiters. I think he would be a good addition.
Final word, Greg Jennings?
They'll be all right.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
They'll be all right.
No, are they winning the championship? What does that mean?
That's my
Hey,
belief.
that's a topic later in the show. Let's just save it for then.
No mercy.
Michael Irvin made some headlines after saying on Boston radio station WEEI that, quote, some very significant people told him the Cowboys may pursue Tom Brady in free agency. But after creating a social media frenzy, Irvin is now clarifying those comments. He wrote on Twitter, I never said Jerry or anyone in the organization said this to me. It was not anyone with the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, there's a shocking walk back. Rob Parker? Should the Cowboys go after Tom Brady?
First, I'm going to say Michael Irvin, I believe what he said. Michael Irvin does television, been out there, is connected to the Cowboys. If somebody had a conversation, and I'm not saying that he walked it back because I'm sure the Cowboys aren't happy when you say that the starting quarterback, that they'd rather move on from him, and that plays with Dak's head. So I can understand why he had to walk it back, but I do believe in what he said originally.
It was a Cowboys person.
I'm just saying somebody who's close to the organization who has some inside information. You don't make that up. You don't talk about that without having something to go with. He knows about television. He knows about the field, what the pushback's going to be. You don't just put that out there if there's no truth to it. So that's what I'm saying. Now, the source could be wrong.
Should they go after
No,
Tom?
I get that. And so I'm just saying that I believe in what Michael Irvin was saying. Now, when you talk about should they go after Tom Brady, I'm not that high on Tom Brady at age 43. Should they maybe look for an alternative at quarterback when you talk about Dak Prescott? Yes.
The question is Tom Brady.
No, this is my hardest
point. Should they go after Tom Brady?
If I look at both of them, I'm not good with either one. But if I had to pick, between the two, all right, Boston, I'm saying it. I would pick Tom Brady over Dak Prescott.
My goodness.
I would for the next year or two. I would, only from this standpoint.
Everything you said about Brady now is
No,
wrong.
it's not. No, it's not. When it comes to
Is
Dak
it either
Prescott,
or some kind of goat?
no,
thing?
Tom Brady's the load, and he would be lucky playing in Dallas. But here's my issue, and this is why when you look at Dak Prescott, you got to say to yourself, last year was probably the most telling of all. 3-0 to start the season. I remember Chris was saying he was en route to being elite. Remember when nobody beat the Redskins, the Dolphins, and the Giants. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, 128 passer rating, right? All that. Then the real season started where he had to play the better teams. He was awful last year against teams who were 500 or better. 2-7, 11 touchdowns. 8 picks. Remember when they couldn't even beat Philadelphia in that big game to be able to win the division? Remember that? He had no touchdowns in that game. Dak Prescott, and here's the other part when you look at the history of him. Same draft, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott.
Wait, how many playoff wins for
No,
Carson
hold
Wentz?
on. Those guys all got paid and got signed up by their teams. Who's the guy who didn't get paid, who had won 2 of the 3 NFC East divisions? It was Dak Prescott, but they signed defensive players, Ezekiel Elliott. They signed everybody except Dak Prescott because I still don't believe that they even believe in him as much. Despite the winning, despite what they've done as far as winning those divisions, that's why he's not signed. They signed Carson Wentz coming off an injury and gave him a big contract, right? Despite they won a Super Bowl without him. Jared Goff was coming off a horrible Super Bowl where they were the highest scoring offense, one of the highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL, scored 3 points in the Super Bowl on an 80-yard field goal. He got paid.
Is that a good contract?
No, but
okay, so
my point is
they made a mistake.
That the Cowboys aren't all in. That's why Michael Irvin would even bring up a 43-year-old to replace him. If I'm the Cowboys and I got a chance to replace Dak Prescott, even with Tom Brady and Metamucil and all the other stuff that comes with them, I would be interested in Tom Brady.
I'm about to punch him in the mouth with his own words.
What?
No way! No how! Rob, come on, let's be real. Like, Tom Brady, 42 years old, he'll be 43 to start the season. You're talking about a Dak Prescott. If we're talking just age, he's 26 years old, he'll be 27 to start the season. You're not going to make that decision based off of just that, period. But looking at what they've done, what has Dak Prescott done? He's done everything they've asked him to do. When he got the position, they said, well, let's see if he can manage the game. He managed the game. He won football games in the regular season. Did he win? Yes. Has he equated to wins? Yes. Has he been able to win a playoff game? He did that in year, what, three. He did that in year 3. Now we're asking him, coming into this year, we were saying, okay, can he throw the ball accurately? Can he move the ball down the field? How can he advance? Can he make the players around him better instead of the players around him making him better? Did he do that? Yes, yes, yes. Can he now take his game to another level with the new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore? He did. He did all of these things. Rob, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You had your moment.
Stop it, Rob. Stop. Did you pick him? Did you pick him to the Super Bowl? But I was wrong. You didn't pick him.
All right,
Stop.
Relax.
When we talk about Dak Prescott, I understand the team has to win, but Dak Prescott did his part. When you look at everything that he was asked to do and how he was able to perform this year, 4,900 passing yards, almost 30-plus touchdowns, like, I don't want to hear...
The best season of his career.
I don't want to hear he didn't do his job. I don't want to hear, he still has something left to prove. They may not believe him. He has done everything that he's supposed to do as a quarterback. He leads by example. He's a great consummate pro on and off the field. You don't have any questions about Dak Prescott off the field, and you don't really have any questions about him on the field, provided what he's shown us this year in his trends. His trends are moving up. So I like Dak Prescott, and there is no way I would take Tom Brady over Dak Prescott.
I'm so with Greg Jennings on this. And Rob Parker, you are illustrating to a national audience why I call you the hibbo, the hatingest brother of all time. Now, look, you said it about Tom Brady. And I like Tom Brady. He's going to be 43. And at the end, it comes swiftly. Peyton Manning, we saw what he looked like his last year.
Did he win?
Now, hold on.
Did he win a Super Bowl?
Listen, you had your turn. 9 touchdowns, 17 picks. The year before, Peyton Manning looked great. Threw for almost 5,000 yards, threw over 30 touchdowns, almost 300 yards a game. It comes quickly. We don't know. It might come for Tom Brady next year. So as Greg said, on that age alone means you keep Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, anything like that. He's a quarterback you can win with, and that's hard to come by. Between Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman, it was 9 years before they got that franchise quarterback after Staubach. After Aikman, it was 5 years before they got Tony Romo. They can't give away Dak Prescott, have Tom Brady for a year or two, and then who knows how long you go before you get a Prescott. And you like to kill Dak. I don't know why, but here's the deal. Last year, Dak, 4th in the NFL in QBR, 4th in the NFL in touchdowns, 3rd in the NFL in yards per game, 5th in yards per attempt. And since you can talk all you want, because, last year they didn't beat the good teams. Okay, that's that's one out of 4 years. In his career, since he's gotten in the league, he is 3rd actually tied for 2nd with Russell Wilson among all NFL quarterbacks in wins. Tom Brady's got 47, that's the most. Dak and Wilson have 40, and Dak would be ahead of him probably if you didn't have to play 6 games without Ezekiel Elliott. So you need to stop the hating on Dak Prescott. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Listen, Rob, hold on, Rob. I want to say something about Dak Prescott before you go off on him again. Chris made a great point. This was the greatest season he's had. He was a top 5 quarterback, according to every statistical measure. Your win-loss record, that's from a bygone era. That does not matter. Talk to the advanced analytics guys. Dak Prescott was incredible. The Cowboys actually asked him to run less, fewest carries, fewest rushing yards, fewest rushing touchdowns, because he's become a better passing quarterback. I don't love Dak myself. I'm a Sam Darnold guy as a Jets fan, but I will say it would be foolish to go after Tom Brady and bring, as Greg said, a 43-year-old into a new offense, a new city, a new coaching staff. The familiarity's not there. It would be a disaster.
Dak Prescott is the new version of Matt Stafford. That's what he is.
How many playoff games has Stafford won?
He's won none, and Dak's won one. That's the
How many has Stafford been to?
Well, I'm just saying.
How many?
I think he's 0-2.
How many years has Matthew Stafford
10 years.
been?
Okay,
all right, but
Dak's been
he's
twice
on that
in 4
route.
years.
And this
Twice
whole
in 4
thing,
years.
I've told you time and time again.
He beat Russell Wilson in the
You can give me
playoffs.
all of these phony numbers you want. Sports has a short menu. It's wins and losses. Greg, you poo-pooing that they were 2-7 against a team 500 or better. How can you poo-poo that? How come they didn't win the division? Because Dak was terrible against Philadelphia.
They did not.
He was terrible.
I'm not going to give you that.
He
They didn't win the division.
Why didn't they beat Philadelphia?
They got out-coached, number one.
Oh, is that what it was?
They definitely got
They
out-coached.
fired the coach.
Yeah, they fired him.
Number
They
two,
have a point differential, the third best in the
I want you to
NFC.
understand this. I want you to understand this, and I want you to be truthful about this.
Okay. What do you think? I'm untruthful?
Yeah, I do.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Nobody thinks you're true.
Coming into this season, with all the pressure that was in front of Dak on Dak Prescott, to prove that he is a franchise quarterback, no contract. Prove it to me that you can earn this contract, Dak. Did he prove it?
No, he didn't.
Yes,
they didn't make the playoffs. Was he a Pro Bowler, Greg? Was he a Pro Bowler?
Okay, so wait a minute.
Zero Pro Bowls.
Wait.
They didn't make the playoffs.
So tell me this.
I said this year.
So what you're saying is, if Dak Prescott would have thrown for 3,500 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, but they made the playoffs, he deserves the contract.
Would you be saying that? Answer that.
If they went to the playoffs and won the division for a third time in 4 years, yes, indeed.
He
didn't do it.
You would not. You'd be killing him because his numbers
Here's
weren't
the
all
other
that.
one.
You'd be killing him.
He'll wind up like, I'm going to give you the scenario. He could wind up like Kirk Cousins, where Washington never believed in him, never franchise tagged him twice.
I agree.
And then he wound up leaving. And if they franchise tag him when everybody else from that draft class has gotten paid, it tells you they don't buy into it.
Hold on.
Because they're not willing.
I'm tired of you painting this scenario that they don't believe in.
They do.
They don't believe he should be the number one paid
Why
quarterback
not? When
in
you're a
history.
franchise, you just
Because he's
said
not
made
the best
numbers.
quarterback.
And you can't build a team around a quarterback like Dak making $40
You know
million.
how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback? When you get them, you sign them. Everybody else has signed their guy.
that's the right
And
call.
Cowboys
Jared
has
Goff-
signed everybody except him.
There are a lot of people that believe the Rams made a mistake
Yes.
by
But
they
giving
still
Goff that
signed him.
contract.
He was coming off a Super
Yeah, but
Bowl.
if it was a mistake, why should Dallas? And look, I think Dallas will, in the end, make Dak the highest paid quarterback in the league.
Franchise
For a week
tag,
until Pat
watch.
Mahomes gets it. Hey, by the way, you know Tom Brady's never been the highest paid quarterback in the NFL
That's
since
his
he's
fault.
been
That's
in the
his
league.
fault. Tom Brady was the one who allowed them to do this hometown discount and bought into it, and now he's belly aching.
How's that worked
now
out
he's
for
belly
him?
Yeah, they
aching
won
about he
6
wants
Super
to get
Bowls.
paid.
They won 6
Now,
Super Bowls
it
because
don't
he's the
matter.
GOAT
with
Why is he
6
crying now?
So what? So you
Why is he
wanna win?
crying now, Chris?
You
Because he
not
want to get
crying.
paid. Yes, he's
Because he's
crying.
at the end of his
I
career.
think he's all right financially.
No.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
He needs a couple more shekels.
Greg Jennings, you won this round. You want to give a final
Yeah,
word
I'm
to
going
Rob
to say
Parker?
this. The reason why those guys got paid, those teams understood, let's lock these guys in now. Dallas decided to wait. And now they're in a position where Dak Prescott has them pretty much hostage. Like, you're either going to pay me what I've earned and what I've proven my worth is, or you're not. And that's where the fight is. He's not going to give, and the Cowboys really don't want to pay him the top dollar.
Why not? You told me he's great.
Because it doesn't make sense to pay a quarterback that much.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. But to continue to build around this team and to keep this roster configured the way that they have, you pay Dak Prescott that much money, you have to alter everything.
Russell Wilson on the rookie quarterback contract, 2 Super Bowls. Since they had to pay him, none.
You mean only
Moving
one?
on.
Only one.
No mercy. The Houston Rockets, who have never been afraid to take risks under GM Daryl Morey. And rather than just going small ball with only one big man, the Rockets are spending all 48 minutes with no bigs at all. The result, smallest team in modern NBA history. After trading Clint Capella away at the deadline, the Rockets have now lost 2 straight, including to the Jazz on the buzzer by Bojan Bogdanovic. Greg, did the Rockets get worse with the trade of Clint Capella.
No, I don't think they got worse. I definitely don't think they got worse. When I look at this Rockets team and you look at how they're configured and you look at James Harden and his ball-dominant play and Russell Westbrook and how he wants to slash and get to the basket, you add a big in there and it draws too much attention. It draws defenders into the paint. You now eliminate the big, which they've played this way pretty much all season anyway. They've gone small ball this way. This is how they operate. To spread the ball, spread the perimeter, spread the guys out, let James Harden operate, let Russell Westbrook operate, and have running lanes, passing lanes, and lanes to get to the rack so that they can create for other guys and shooters. You get a Robert Covington who can shoot, who can defend, who is a big wing player. He adds that to their arsenal now. So I don't think that we've seen enough. They beat the Lakers on last week. They played another game, and they lost to the Suns.
By about 36. Yeah.
Without Russell Westbrook. And so we haven't seen enough of the sample size right now with this core group of guys that they have. But I don't think they got any worse by going small ball permanently. Yeah.
I'm not buying into this. This is another gimmick situation. I expected when they had that first game against the Lakers that they'd all get out of a mini car and they'd throw confetti and it would be like the circus. Come on, Greg, you're not going to win a championship with a small lineup like this. It's just not going to happen. I don't care how much sample size you want to see. This, again, is their GM, Daryl Morey, just grasping for straws. It was just 2 years ago. They were a game away from the Western Conference Finals with Chris Paul hurt. They didn't have to blow the team up. The team was right there. They could have stayed with that team, continued to work, and just say, let's get all our guys healthy. What did he do? He blew the team up. Chris Paul, get away.
Chris Paul and Harden had some beef.
Chris Paul is playing great this year. Is he not?
He is.
All right, for the Thunder.
All-star.
So they could have still had him. Capella was a big part of that team as well. Leave that team together. There was no reason to panic. This is not going to get it done. Chris, I'm not buying into the Rockets and that there's any chance that they're any closer. To me, they got no chance to win now.
Just really quick before you go, Chris. I didn't say they're winning a championship.
I know you did.
I just want to make that abundantly clear.
You just said that you haven't seen enough.
The question was, did they get worse?
Did they get worse?
Yeah, yes, they got worse to winning a championship.
Rob, congratulations. Finally, 42 minutes of the show. You've come into the light. I finally agree with you. Yeah, look, I've said it before. Before this trade with Clint Capella, they had no shot of winning the championship. They were fun to watch. They were a hoot. They were a blast. They were sexy, must-see TV. And after the trade, it's the same thing. They'll win 50-some-odd games. They can't win a championship like this. Now, you brought up a great point. Daryl Morey, who's a good GM, but he's overrated because everybody thinks he's this phenomenal GM. He's obsessed with big names. He's obsessed with making moves. As you said, yeah, Chris Paul and James Harden were at odds. I get it. Leadership is you sit them down with the coach and you say, we got to work this out. They were better. As great as Westbrook is, and he's better at this stage or more dynamic than a Chris Paul, but Chris Paul is a better spot-up shooter. Chris Paul is a better position defender. Is a better fit. They had a legitimate chance to win the championship then. Now they don't. At this stage, they're just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what works. And I understand why they did it, because they knew, like we did, they had no chance. So now let's open up the lane for the first time in Westbrook's career. And in his 2 games without Clint Capella, he's looked like an MVP. Yeah, he scored 40 points a game on 50% shooting. He's only taken 4 threes, and he's hit 2 of them. So I get that. And it makes what I do like about it, because I think maybe they got a little better. They still won't beat the Lakers or the Clippers, but maybe they got a little better because it also makes them less Harden-centric. If you watch them now, when Russ is there, now it's a legitimate 2 superstars.
It is.
Russ is getting his just as much as Harden is getting his. Harden had a triple-double with 28 points in their last game. And look, they had Utah beat. They lost on a wild last-second shot. So I think they may have gotten slightly better, but no, I agree with
Chris
you. They're not winning anything.
Largely right. The problem is this is unsustainable, right? This 3-point barrage. They're attempting 50 to 63s a game. If you guys remember the Warriors' death lineup back when they had Harrison Barnes, they had a small lineup, but they only played them at the end of the first half and at the end of the game. Without a center, You got Russell Westbrook and these guys boxing out all game, battling the bigs. It's not going to work. I will say this about Morey, to Chris's point. It's at least a shot in the dark. I know you guys play Monopoly a lot. I play with my kids. If I'm losing, which is rare, I will throw a Hail Mary trade out there for a long shot chance to come back. This is what the Rockets did. They had no chance, as you said, with Capella. They probably don't have a chance now, but I'll tell you this. If they happen to get hot against, say, the Clippers, who have a small lineup, and they make 50% threes.
No way
they can take down somebody in a series.
I think
they can take down Utah in the first round.
I think they would have a better chance. You're right. They may match up with a Utah. Yeah. I think they'd have a better chance of beating the Lakers than the Clippers, because the Clippers can go small, still be bigger than them, but go small and have probably better shooting on the perimeter.
Yeah, the Clippers, Lakers,
the Rockets do.
But they'll have a chance for a series or two, but to go to the finals, no shot. No shot whatsoever.
And, look, it puts so much pressure on their players. I mean, Westbrook has to drive all game long and be explosive and phenomenal. Harden and the rest of the guys have to hit all their threes. The reason they lost to Golden State, they missed 27 straight threes or something.
Right, that was the reason.
It's tough to play that way in a 7-game series because you got really no room for error.
If it were anyone other than Russell Westbrook, I would agree with that. But this is who he's been. This is what he's had to do his entire career, is to literally go 48 minutes, however long it takes, up and down the court, playing both ways, getting to the rack. He's done it his entire career. He's been a stat filler his entire career. I don't mind it, and I think we all agree that, well, except with the exception of Rob, that they did not get worse.
I don't think they got worse.
Because of this. I'm not at all on the bandwagon of saying that they're going to win the championship. Neither was I before the trade.
When I say they got worse, I'm talking about in their pursuit of winning a championship.
You're talking about over the last few years.
Right. From where they were a couple years ago to where they are now.
Okay, so going back a couple years, the problem with Chris Paul, and I know you're a big fan, he wears people out. Blake Griffin and Chris Paul here with the Clippers hated each other. James Harden and Chris Paul,
Chris is
by the end last year, hated each other.
Look, sometimes you got to sit down and be like, dude, we have a shot. We need to work.
You don't think they tried that?
You can work with people every day and not like them.
Absolutely.
Okay, but we could still work.
Right.
It works. It works for us if we can just get past this. We don't have to go to dinner. We don't have to do all that. Let's play 48 minutes, give ourselves a chance to win a championship. Don't tell me that Chris Paul wouldn't want to win a championship or James Harden. Like, if you could convince them.
But they choked twice against the Warriors.
I get it.
Well, they led at home in Game 7 by 10 at halftime and choked it away against the Warriors.
They didn't have Chris Paul.
Well, that was 2 years ago. No, that was 2 years ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
In Game 7,
that's what I'm saying, but he got hurt.
Yeah, but still, they led by 10 at halftime.
Chris Paul was saying, look, I've sacrificed my game. I've been on the ball my whole career. I've gotten off the ball to try to win a championship. We haven't done it. And Mike D'Antoni, who I'm in the minority, I think he's a Hall of Fame coach.
You're very much in the minority.
I get that.
No, he won with the Knicks, and nobody wins with the Knicks.
But he's a one-trick pony. And he's not telling them to change and make adjustments, and he wouldn't tell Harden to make some adjustments. Now, they're going to change just because of the way they play now without Capella, but D'Antoni's not saying, James, let's, get Russ more involved. No, it's just going to happen organically, and that's part of the problem in Houston. Is Daryl Morey or Mike D'Antoni going to sit guys down and say, we need to make some changes? You guys need to get along at least on the court because we got a chance to win.
You think it's really easy to sit Russell Westbrook down?
No, it's not easy.
At this stage in his career, and say, hey, man,
I wouldn't sit, though. No, I mean, at this point, they made their move. Now Westbrook can play as he plays. I'm saying they should have done it with Chris and James. And whether it's easy or not, that's why you're getting paid millions of dollars as a leader.
Chris Paul, will you chill out a little bit and stop yelling at guys on the court? I mean, everybody's hated you everywhere you've gone.
You're the leader of the organization.
Chris Paul's not a leader.
It's part of your job description.
You think it's easy
if a GM can't sit, now maybe the players don't do it.
Yeah.
But you got to put it. You got to take a shot.
We don't know that they're trying. They could be trying behind the scenes. There
have been plenty of teams that have won championships where guys didn't get along. I mean, it
happens almost every year.
Right.
Where teams they have some type of friction and you have to resolve. And winning has to be at the forefront. We've seen it with the Patriots. We see it across sports in general. If winning is not priority, all the other little things become a little distraction and they pull you away from winning. So I don't buy the whole point of that you can't sit somebody down. No, you can. And make sure that everybody understands we got one goal, and
Final
that's just
word,
to win.
Chris Broussard, are the Rockets getting out of the first round?
I think they'll. I mean, what are they, the 5th seed right now?
They would play Utah right now.
Whew.
Hey, that would be better than Russell Westbrook the last 2 years in OKC.
You know, look.
I think they would get Utah.
They might, because they played them well. It was in Houston, granted, but
it just comes down to the threes. If they're shooting 40%,
I'm gonna say yes. I'm just gonna give them that.
And then they would place the Lakers in the second round.
No mercy.
After winning the Marcus Morris sweepstakes at the trade deadline, the Clippers handed the Cavs their worst loss in home history yesterday. They led by as many as 45 points in the fourth and did not have Kawhi Leonard, who rested as he usually does on the second night of a back-to-back. Meanwhile, after news broke that Darren Collison will not be coming out of retirement, the Lakers are reportedly moving forward with a different plan that may be Dion Waiters, according to Wojnarowski. Chris, who do you feel better about moving forward? The Paper Clips or the best team in LA, the Lakers?
I guess we know your answer. Preseason, I picked the Lakers like a lot of people, like I think you guys. But
not me.
Watching the eye test, just watching the teams, and then their stats to back it up, the Clippers are better. And I said in the preseason, even as I picked the Lakers, I thought the Clippers should be the favorite and on paper were the better team. And they've made that paper come to life. They look great. And here's several reasons I think they're better. One, now while it's true the Lakers have 2 of the 3 best players in LA, LeBron, Kawhi, and AD, and I would say in that order. Okay. However, the Clippers are a better team. The Clippers have 2 other basically 20-point scores. Paul George is over 20. Kawhi is obviously over 20. And then Lou Williams is averaging 19, and Montrezl Harrell's averaging 19. They're a team, and the Lakers are too LeBron-centric. It's not his fault. It's his greatness, but he's making plays for everybody. He's got to create for everybody, and that's hard to beat a great team when you're creating for everybody, even as you have another great player like AD. Look at LeBron's career. The teams that have been his nemesis are teams. Talented teams. San Antonio, even though they were old, in 2014 ran through Miami, played really team basketball and had talent. Golden State that beat him all those years. A lot of talent and played team basketball. The Clippers are doing the same thing. When you watch them, you see, they got 2 stars. But the ball finds everybody. Everybody gets their shot. Pat Beverly might hit a big shot. Landry Shamet might hit a big shot. The ball is moving. Now, against top teams, it's to Rob's point. The top 4 teams in each conference, the Clippers are 8-5. The Lakers are 5-6. So they've been pounding on the weaker teams, but have had trouble against the better teams in the league. And, of course, the Clippers are 2-0 against the Lakers head up. And the Clippers, they're only 3 behind the Lakers, 3 games, and they haven't even been healthy. They're 17-5 when Kawhi and Paul George play together. So if you just watch them, look, their perimeter defense is staunch. Only thing you can say about them is they don't have rim protection. But their perimeter defense is so good that you're going to have trouble getting to the rim. So I just think the Clippers, and they got more closers. They got Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams. Marcus Morris can hit a big shot. The Lakers, and LeBron, we know he can close games, but he tends to either take a 3 or go all the way to the hoop. And when you watch him against the Clippers in the first 2 games, I thought he was tentative initially watching the 2 games, and I was like, what is going on? But maybe it's that he's had trouble getting by the perimeter defense to get to the rim at 35 years old. So, look, I don't write off the Lakers. I give them a shot. I think here's what I think has to happen for the Lakers to win it. 1, LeBron's got to be heroic and lift them over a better team. He did it in 2016 against Golden State. 2, Anthony Davis needs to dominate the fourth quarter. And to do that, they need to change the way they're playing. Because right now, they're not even giving Anthony Davis the chance to dominate the fourth quarters. He's got to dominate Marcus Morris or Kawhi or Paul George or Harrell, whoever they put on him, Zubac. In the fourth quarter, they got to change the way they play. Because Anthony Davis, you're going to be shocked when you hear this number. He's averaging 5.5 minutes a game in the fourth quarter. He's playing less than half of the fourth quarter. He's averaging 2.9 points in the fourth quarter. He's averaging 2.9 shots in the fourth quarter. What are they doing?
Well,
I don't care that
often they're blowing teams out because they have the best point differential.
Well, LeBron's playing 9 minutes in the fourth quarter and 7 points and leading the league in shot attempts.
I think LeBron's trying to win an MVP. LeBron is doing what Russell Westbrook did the last couple of years, trying to win an MVP award. LeBron, this big narrative on social media.
Is it more important to win
Am I a washed king? I'm averaging 25. I'm leading the league in assists at 35 years old. I'm averaging 7 rebounds. He's having arguably the greatest season ever at 35 years old.
At 35.
And LeBron's trying to make the case, hey, we didn't make the playoffs last year, but I'm not washed, as everybody says on TV
The best way to prove he's not the washed king is to win a championship. And the best chance to do that is to get AD in the mindset that I'm the beast in the fourth quarter.
Yes, I agree.
Nobody can change it.
Lakers Clippers is close. I am maybe on an island here. We'll see what Greg Jennings says. I like the Lakers. I think they give a slight edge to them. Here's why. The stats are great. You can trot them out all you want. Offensive efficiency, Lakers are higher than Clippers. Defensive efficiency, Lakers above Clippers. But Clippers haven't been fully healthy, as we know. So I think it comes down to stars, as you said, in the fourth quarter. And I trust LeBron and AD over Kawhi and Paul George. Well, I'll give you that right now. I believe that the one guy that matters more than anything among the role players, which you love to talk about, is Danny Green. Spent 7 years with Kawhi in San Antonio, and we saw Kawhi twice in both meetings this year take over and dominate the Lakers in the fourth. Christmas Day and opening night, which I was there, Kawhi just was unstoppable. LeBron can't guard him in the fourth. We saw LeBron try to guard Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter of the finals. He got lit up like a Christmas tree. Danny Green has got to be the guy to defend Kawhi. He's their best option. We know it's not Kuzma. And if Danny Green can shut him down, I'm not worried about AD.
Shut him down?
Well, at least not have him go off for 10 and 12 points. I think AD and LeBron can handle him offensively. I give the Lakers a slight edge over the Clippers.
I'm not buying that at all. I think the Clippers have done everything that we saw in the preseason, on paper before, and you talked about it, is all come to fruition. Every single thing, it's a matter of they're taking their time. They're not trying to get the best record in the NBA. It's not important. The Lakers started 24-3. They're 15-9 since. Chris gave you all the numbers against the better teams, the top 4 teams. That should concern you. You're only going to see the best teams come playoff time. Loading up against these also-rans and bad teams, that doesn't mean anything. They're empty stats. Also, you got Doc Rivers, a guy who's won a championship. When you go get Morris, Chris talks about this all the time on the radio, and I'm with him, about the dog that's in the Clippers. They have it. Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, these guys get after it. You don't have that feel with the Lakers. They got talent. You're right. And the AD thing, the 2 games against the Clippers, he has a total of 4 points. They gave up those games. Why is Anthony Davis not a bigger part? Who is supposed to defend him? Nobody should be able to defend him. But we haven't seen that. And Kyle Kuzma, they kept him. Is he really going to, in the second half, be that guy and mature? Or will he be the inconsistent guy who's not ready to win basketball games, who's just willing to put up shots? We don't know that. And if you want to hinge everything and put your wagon to Danny Green, all right. But I'm telling you, that's not going to get it done.
Who else is guarding Kawhi? I don't know who
it is. But that's not going to get it done against this team.
He can't
There's too many guys, and they keep coming at you. It's a wave. And the defense, that's how you win championships. They have all the recipes. They've done everything. And it's only a matter of time that as the year goes on, they'll have more time together. They'll gel more. Kawhi will be healthy, or healthier because they haven't burnt him out during the regular season. And he'll have a chance to do something nobody's ever done. Win back-to-back championships on franchises that had never previously won. He has that chance.
I like the Lakers. And I would like the Lakers even better if they were able to somehow acquire Dion Waiters as offensive player.
Now it's Dion Waiters.
I like that.
And I'll tell you why. Because the Clippers, being realistic, they have so much firepower offensively, but they can also defend you on the wing. Where you look at the Lakers and they can't defend. They have firepower offensively, but they can't really defend you on the wing. So what do? Add more firepower offensively, and Dion Waiters will give that to you. But I think Anthony Davis, the numbers that the statistics that you just gave us, staggering. It is ridiculous. And I believe that what makes this team better, you mentioned them having 2 out of the 4 two out of the three top players in LA. I think Anthony Davis has to get to the point where he is the best player in LA. And if he gets to that point, meaning they have to change the way they play, you mentioned that, but being dominant in the fourth quarter and becoming that closer, which I know he can be, he was that way in New Orleans. We've seen him do it. He has to impose his will because there is no one on that Clippers roster that can guard Anthony Davis. He is the X factor. He has to be special. That's why I give the advantage to the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm with you. And when we say change the way they play, it's not stylistically so much. Like what they do is they play AD like the whole third quarter, sitting for like the first 3 or so, maybe more minutes according to these numbers of the fourth. Change that. You got to play him 10 minutes, 9-10 minutes
get him
in the fourth quarter, right?
Get him acclimated
and start
to that.
feeding him. And I don't agree with you. I think LeBron is trying to rack up numbers as he's playing well and try to catch Kareem, which I don't fault him for. I mean, every player would want those numbers. But the way for him to not be the wash king, as you've said, is to win the championship. You know, everybody knows he's the best player on the team, but AD, to your point, Greg, has got to get them going. And Rob said it about the dog. The Lakers, they're Hollywood, they're Beverly Hills. The Clippers are Compton and Watts.
Right.
I mean, serious.
Yeah, the Clippers around town. That's their narrative.
The Clippers come at Patrick Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, now Marcus Morris, Montrezl Harrell. And look, when the Lakers are playing Memphis, Sacramento, Cleveland, they got swag for days. All right, they all up in the, when they play the Clippers, I don't see no swag. I might see it for the first 3 quarters.
And then when the game is on the line,
I haven't seen it in the fourth. That's all I'm saying.
Basically, the final 5 minutes.
I want to see that swag against the Clippers that you show against Sacramento and Phoenix.
Look,
I haven't seen it.
You don't see the dog in Rondo? You don't think he's a dog?
Well, Rondo's a little older. I'm
Yeah.
not saying Rondo. I would never take anything away from Rondo.
He's in the doghouse.
But he's older.
And
I'm not saying
is
none
not
of
a
them.
dog. He's a guy who gets thrown out of a preseason game for fighting. He's got bigger
That's
issues
the
than a
dog. You need to have
You
a little
want that
fear.
energy?
Yeah,
Okay.
think I might go crazy. The opponent.
We're talking about dog. The
You know I'm right, Greg.
Yes, the Clippers have the type of team that they can play within the rules of the NBA regulations, but they can also take those guys and go to the park and say, check up
Patrick
and play
Beverly
with anybody.
loves that. He's hurting guys
That's
all
the
over
type
the
of
place.
mentality you have to have on a team. And to your point, they credit the Clippers because they have it. They have a lot, and they have it in more than just one player.
It ain't just Patrick Beverly, right?
No,
it's literally from top to bottom on their roster. But I'm not going.
I just want to see it from the Lakers. That's
Rob
I
Parker,
would love
you
to see
haven't had a
LeBron
final
with
word
another.
yet. Go ahead.
Your
What do you
thing
got?
about
What you
LeBron
got?
winning the MVP, I'm with Chris. That's not going to get it done. If he doesn't win the championship, it'll be that Kawhi and Paul George came to L.A. in your building, right? You got Anthony Davis.
Agreed.
And you didn't win a championship.
Okay, and
ain't nobody want to hear about no stats.
Right.
Any of that.
It'll be great historically.
Right, but I'm saying, but those wouldn't matter to people in L.A., right? They thought they had a chance to win a championship. And the Clippers, who have never won, and the guys who didn't want to come play with LeBron wound up winning a championship.
And what happens if
over him.
Kawhi doesn't win the championship? Can we then flip it and say, oh, you were load managing in November for nothing?
LeBron,
Can we bash Kawhi?
LeBron is the
Can
biggest
we go after
story.
Kawhi?
You know that.
No, we can't do that because we see Kawhi, he's a younger player. He has time. His window of opportunity
Younger
is
player
still
needs
there.
to load manage in November.
What I will give you, J-Mac, I do think when you load manage the way Kawhi does,
He better.
You better win it. Like maybe if they get to the finals and lose in a tough series of Milwaukee, people will give him a little slack. But when you load manage like this, you got to deliver a championship.
No mercy. The biggest storyline of the NFL right now is what team Tom Brady will play for in 2020. Last week, the NFL Network reported the Patriots would be willing to exceed a $30 million a year contract to keep Brady. And now, according to Tom Curran of NBC Sports, Robert Kraft, the owner, will reportedly let Belichick handle the decision, saying while the Patriots are, quote, willing to extend themselves financially to keep him, Belichick will receive no edict from the owner on what to do. Rob Parker, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Brady will be in New England next year?
Now, I took up journalism in college because I wasn't that good at math. So on my scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 0 that Tom Brady will be back. I'm not even at a 0.
So he's gone.
I don't believe it because if they wanted Tom Brady back, they could have fixed all of this already. When they gave him that bogus contract last year, right? They could have given him the Drew Brees package or the couple-year contract where Tom Brady felt good. You remember at the end of Michael Jordan's career, right, when he was underpaid all those years, and then they gave him 30-some-odd million the last 2? They could have done it already. They know they got an old, broken-down Tom Brady. Bill Belichick, and even though Garoppolo didn't win the Super Bowl, you know Bill was sitting around Bill Belichick going, I told you that was the guy. You always want to get rid of a guy sooner than later, right? And that's what they could have moved on from Tom Brady. I know they got lucky and won a championship against the Rams. Yeah, because Tom Brady had no touchdowns in that. But I'm telling you, he's not. I
thought it was a short menu.
There is a short menu, but he's not coming back. I don't believe it's all done. He cleaned out his suite. They put the houses up for sale. They moved to Connecticut, the whole 9 yards. This is a done deal. Everybody's playing it. The Patriots will be smart not to give a broken-down quarterback at 43 years old a break the bank to save face. If Robert Kraft wanted Tom Brady, who we said was like a son to him, back, it would be done. Tom, you don't have to clean out your suite. You don't have to put your house up for sale. What do we need to do to bring you back and sign a deal? And it would have been done.
I'm going with an 8.5.
You're crazy.
You can call me crazy. And here's why. When you look at the New England Patriots, what options do they have?
Thank you.
What options do they have?
Teddy Bridgewater.
And that would be a great option. I think that's the best.
Oh, okay, so there is an option.
I think that would be the best. I'm talking about right now on their roster, where can they go? Or are they really going to pay Teddy Bridgewater? Do they believe that he can provide what they want? I don't know. Tom Brady has proven he can win. You have to now make sure, if this is the case, that you bring him back. You have to make him better. He can't be the one to make everybody better. That's not where he is in his career. And I'm not going to sit here and act like Tom Brady isn't getting old and his talents aren't diminishing, because they are. But what's up here does not leave you. His ability to still perform at a high level is definitely in there, but he has to have pieces around him. We saw it last year, or not this last year, the year before, when they started implementing more of a running game, making sure that he could turn around, hand the ball off, and make sure guys could bear the load a little bit more. Without having skill guys, none of these guys stepped up to the plate. The young rookies at wide receiver, none of them really stepped up and became the player that was necessary for them to move forward and to really having a chance of winning with the level of play that Tom Brady was providing. That was the problem. It was not just solely Tom Brady. You have to look at everything. And when I look at this team and I don't see what's on their roster, or when I look at the landscape of everyone else, we talk about Teddy Bridgewater, but I don't think New Orleans lets Teddy Bridgewater just walk out the door. Tom Brady is the best option. And we can say, what about the other options for Tom Brady? Yeah, you're going to say all the right things. You're going to put your house up for sale. Why? Because being in that position myself, you want to make sure that you're preparing everyone in your home for what is unexpected. And that means I don't know what's going to happen.
After 20 years, you're not confident?
But we're going to prepare. I don't care. This league ain't loyal to players.
Yeah. He's been there 20 years. They have been loyal to him. They've been overly loyal. 20 years?
Because he's been able to perform at a high level.
Not the last Super Bowl. He was terrible.
The moment your level of play starts to decline, you are expendable. I don't care who you are, but as Tom Brady, for the man, he's going to make sure he's preparing himself. So yes, put your house up for sale. Act as though you're ready to move on. When in his heart of hearts, he doesn't want to move. Nobody wants to ever go somewhere else when they've been there that long, let alone he's been there 20 years. I was in Green Bay for 7. I didn't want to leave.
Really? You didn't want to leave Green Bay?
No, I did not want to leave. Players don't want to leave when they've been at one place and they've been treated well and they've experienced wins like him. And none of us have experienced wins like him. No, Tom Brady.
8.5. Where are you at, Broussard?
Greg, you already used one of Rob's taglines, no way, no how. I'm going to use another. You're Meshuggah. I hope I said that the right way.
That was good, Chris.
Is that you
That means crazy in Yiddish. Very good.
In what Yiddish? All right, you are Meshuggah. First of all, stop bringing up the house. Greg brought up a great point about putting it on the market. Also, and you wouldn't know this, I get it, but when you put a house that expensive, what is it, $13 million?
You got to put
you
that
do it way in advance. It might be years before you sell that thing. So when he sells it, then you might have a little more of an argument. I give him a 7. And this is, how can it be no chance that he's back with the Patriots? I'm saying a 7 that he'll be back with the Patriots. When number one, Robert Kraft, according to the reports, and Bill Belichick want him back. Those are what the reports are saying by plugged-in Patriots reporters. Number two, they're saying they're willing to pay him upwards of $30 million. Okay, there's the money right there. I think, as Greg said, it's the best play for both the Patriots and Tom Brady. Here's why it's best for Tom Brady. As you said, you never want to leave. He knows the system. As much as I think he's the GOAT, it is not out of the realm of possibility that he goes somewhere else at 43 years old in a new system and flops. That is not out of the realm of possibility. So I'm sure he doesn't want to do that. Greg is right on the money. You got to bring him more talent, though. He used to be able to carry mediocre talent at the skill positions. Not anymore. And so whether N'Keal Henry can step up, I think if Antonio Brown gets cleared of his charges, maybe he'll be back there. They've talked about Greg Olsen at tight end. Whatever they need to do, they have to upgrade the skill positions.
What's the percentage on the scale? We have a 0, 8.5.
I said 7.
I'm going to go with 4.7. Two big reasons jump out. Number one, you called Tom Brady broken down earlier in this segment, right? And earlier in the show, you want him to replace Dak Prescott. Why can't he be somewhere in between? Second half of the season, he was not good. He couldn't beat the Titans secondary in the playoffs at home. But I really like Brady leaving because of options. As you guys have said, the skill positions aren't good. You can't lose Gronkowski and replace him with nothing. You look at the Chargers, they've got better skill position players everywhere. Offensive line shaky. You look at the Colts maybe. You look at Tampa Bay with the weapons they have. There's going to be options for Brady. If I look at this Patriots roster and I'm Tom Brady, I say, God, Belichick, what are you doing? What are we bringing back?
But why
wouldn't Brady walk out the door?
But here's the thing. If what you're saying about, they both want him back and they want to get,
reports.
I'm not buying that because they could have given him that money already.
But what if it's not about the money?
No, but it is about Tom Brady. Yes, it is.
His wife's worth $500 million. Why is it about the money?
Tom Brady feels like he was underpaid his entire, never got paid, Greg, as a superstar
really about
quarterback.
Respect.
Right, and they
that
never.
Is what it's about.
All right, but they never paid him.
Respect.
But he was the one who allowed them to do that, and then he didn't.
Exactly.
They didn't even spend the money. Well, look,
because he could have gotten the money. He didn't. He chose not to.
And here's the other part. There's plenty of great quarterbacks who finished their careers elsewhere. We already know Montana, Manning, Favre, Joe Namath. All these guys finish elsewhere, so that's not unusual for a guy to go finish somewhere else. And the other part of it is that none of you guys have mentioned is maybe Tom Brady wants to get from underneath the shadow of Bill Belichick. Maybe Tom Brady, you tell me this, Greg, if he goes to the Chargers or some other team and gets to a Super Bowl or God forbid, even wins a Super Bowl with another team in the last 2 years and he has all the pieces that you talk about the Patriots needing. They got receivers, they have a running game, they have a decent defense. Tom Brady goes to the Chargers, they get to the Super Bowl or they win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady now, how can you say
That's
anything
why it's
other
not
than
about money or respect. It's about winning.
And if he doesn't win, nobody looks at that and goes, well, Tom Brady couldn't get the Chargers to win because nobody's been able to get the Chargers to win. So it's a win-win.
You will sit in that seat and you will say that very thing. Here's the thing. Everybody's acting like the Patriots were horrible last year.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Wait a minute. They were horrible at the end. They lost 4 of their final 6 games.
Let me make my point. They were 12-4. They beat Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger. They beat Buffalo.
Week 1.
Can I finish? They beat Buffalo twice. They beat Philadelphia, that you love. They beat Dallas. Okay, I'm not saying that.
Dallas wasn't a playoff.
Hold on. And they played Tennessee tougher than Baltimore played them in the playoffs. So we're acting like they have no shot. And I'm tired of your little, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning.
Is that my voice?
The other teams had Brett Favre was replaced by Aaron Rodgers. Peyton Manning by Andrew Luck. Joe Montana by Steve Young. Is Jarrett Stidham on that list?
No.
In that class? Keep Brady.
But Garoppolo was there. That was the guy who was supposed to replace him.
Garoppolo is not walking through that door.
But he was supposed to be, and that's why it would have made sense to do it when they did it.
If you had Garoppolo, but they don't.
Understand this. The one thing that Brady wants to do more than anything is win.
Yes.
What gives him the best chance of winning? This whole idea of wanting to do it without one another, I don't buy it.
Right.
Because they understand the importance of each other, which is why they've won. They may not agree, they may not love each other like they possibly should or could, but they want to win, and they both understand that I can count on him if I get them what they need. If you give me what I need, Bill Belichick tells you, I'll produce wins. I'll produce championships.
Belichick didn't do that last year.
No,
he didn't give what he needed.
But if you give Brady what he needs, maybe they do that.
Right.
No mercy. From strained relationships with management to heated encounters with coaches, LeBron's had some ups and downs with the operations of his teams throughout his career. Those days are seemingly behind him, though. And during the Lakers game against the Warriors Saturday, our own Chris Haynes revealed LeBron's getting more comfortable with every passing day and added, quote, the connection with the front office and ownership group is the best he's had in his career. We're joined now by three-time NBA champ B.J. Armstrong. Played with a guy named Jordan, I believe, yes?
Yeah.
B.J.,
like
do you think LeBron is really happy with the front office despite no moves at the deadline?
Well, sure. Why wouldn't he be happy at this point? They have the best record in the league. They're currently leading the conference. They have everything going their way. It's been kind of smooth sailing thus far. And why wouldn't he be happy at this point?
Yeah. Well, you represent Derrick Rose,
yes,
who the Lakers reportedly had some interest in. You care to share if the Clippers or anyone else was interested in your client?
There was a lot of interest in Derrick Rose, make no doubt about it. Derrick has been terrific the way he's playing, especially off the bench, and he's been a very productive player. And the way the game is played now with all of these small guards who are able to score, penetrate, and do the things that they do, which seems to be a very coveted thing in the game today. Derrick Rose was very high on the list, especially with the teams that are winning. The Clippers, the Lakers, Milwaukee, Philadelphia. So his style of play kind of fits the way the league is playing right now. And, but he's playing very well in Detroit and very happy there to be in Detroit.
Were you surprised the Lakers didn't make any moves?
I wasn't surprised because when the Lakers made the initial move with Anthony Davis, they pushed all their chips into the middle. So when you look at their team and you look at what they have to work with, what do they really have that's going to be able to secure a good player at this point? Anthony Davis was a huge get for them. They knew what they had to give up. They gave up some really good players, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and the rest of those young players, that young nucleus that they were able to acquire. And when they did that, it really put them in the position that they're in now. So what can they really do when you really look at their books, look at their team and the way it's currently constructed?
See, BJ, why I don't buy into LeBron, and I agree with you, it's hard to bellyache when you have the best record in the league and the best in the Western Conference. But it's not for LeBron and them. It's about trying to win a title.
Yes.
And because the Clippers are there, we had Rick Bucher on this show right at the trade deadline, and he just talked about that the Lakers, he predicted that the Lakers would have Marcus Morris at the end of the day, and it didn't happen. But not only for the Lakers not to be able to add that piece, but for the Clippers, the team they're trying to be able to beat in order to get to the finals or have a chance of winning a championship, they got better. So I look at the roster, I get it, you're right, they pushed in all their chips, but that team is not better than the Clippers. Sure. And that's why I think that LeBron deep down wishes that they could have got a Derrick Rose or some other piece, and I get it, Kyle Kuzma doesn't have a contract, he's not making a lot of money, so you got to throw in another guy. Was Danny Green worth holding on to, not getting another piece that they need?
Well, I think, when you have LeBron and you know the way he plays, right, you're going to need shooters to create the proper spacing around him. But going back to your initial, comment about the Clippers are constructed with a very simple goal in mind. We are here to win a championship, and we're going to do it in two ways. We're going to acquire the best talent we can get, and we're going to be the toughest team in the league. All right, this team was constructed with one idea in mind. We are there to play and get ready for the playoffs. And they have a group of guys now who are ready to fight once the playoffs begin. This team is tough. I think they mirror the image of their head coach, and they're going to go out there, and it's going to be a battle every single game in the playoffs because they have a team there that's ready to grind. They don't have to play well to win the game. They can win the game and not play well because defensively they can stop players.
And Marcus Morris fits that bill. He's a perfect fit for that team.
He's a perfect guy because he is not coming there to score points. He's not coming there to facilitate. He's coming there to be another piece that's going to grind every game in a 7-game series. They know what they're getting, and he's going to be a tough guard and a tough player to play against once you get into the playoffs.
BJ, I agree with you and Rob that the Clippers are the better team and the favorite to win the championship, at least come out of the West. And I think the Lakers have to do 3 things. Like, I don't write them off. You know, anytime you got LeBron and AD, I'm going to give you a shot, but I think the Clippers are better. But I think they need 3 things to do to win the series against the Clippers. 1, I think LeBron just needs to be heroic. You know, have one of those performances that sometimes you beat a team that's better because one guy was so good. 2, not in this order, but Kyle Kuzma. I think they got to get him acclimated to playing winning basketball. Take better shot selection, more focus on the defensive end. And 3, and the most important to me, is Anthony Davis. The one thing the Clippers, we know they lack rim protection. But I think Marcus Morris is their best low post defender against AD now. Right. But still, he's not going to shut AD down. Montrezl Harrell, Kawhi, Paul George. Like, AD has an advantage. And I think in the fourth quarters, AD needs to be like that monster for the Lakers where whoever's on him, you're too small, I'm killing you. You're too big and slow, I'm going outside killing you. But these numbers will shock you. The Lakers, in the fourth quarter, Anthony Davis is only averaging 5.5 minutes a game in the fourth quarter, okay? And it's not because blowouts, because LeBron's averaging 9 minutes.
Right.
AD is only averaging 2.9 points in the fourth. Now, he averages 26. Or so he's scoring almost 7 or 8 points a quarter in the first 3 quarters, less than 3 in the fourth, and he's getting less than 3 shot attempts in the fourth. I think the Lakers have to be more focused for the rest of the regular season on getting AD the ball in the fourth, even if it costs you some games. You know, but get that guy used to being the man in the fourth, because we know LeBron's going to do his thing. You need help with AD. I think they're making a big mistake with these numbers being the way they are for AD. What's your thought on that?
Well, those numbers are kind of surprising. You know, I didn't know that those were the numbers for AD. I saw them. Right. But I will say this, you know, Jerry West and Doc Rivers, those two of my favorite people in all of the business. And when you said that, I was thinking about how to make a championship run. Complexity is the enemy of execution. The game has to be very, very simple if you're talking about winning the last game of the season. It's very simple what the Clippers are doing. We can stop you, and we know we have multiple positions or players who can score in the fourth quarter. It's a very simple thing for them. So I think the simplicity of how their team is constructed favors them. I agree, LeBron James is a terrific talent, as we know. Anthony Davis may be the best player on the floor, some may argue. But in the end, I think the team and the simplicity of how they have to play, knowing what they can do, fits what you're talking about making a championship
run. But, BJ, don't you think some of this Marcus Morris stuff is a little inflated? Okay, Kawhi Leonard played 39 minutes a game during the playoff run last year. Paul George is going to be on the floor. You need Harrell. You need Lou Williams. You need Patrick Beverley. There's not even room for Marcus Morris.
There's room for him.
He's going to start at the 4.
Yes.
Okay, so who are you taking off the floor?
Well, I think
Lou Williams?
Patrick Patterson or
you need multiple players, right?
Marcus.
You need multiple players. And here's the thing that I think Marcus Morris, the best or the biggest value that he brings is he's going to take away the other team's ability to run screen roll. Because now you can switch and you have a player that's very capable of doing what all teams are looking to do, is to have multiple players who can defend the screen roll off the dribble because of the way we play now. We dribble, we drive, we dish. And then what Chris alluded to earlier, is that he can defend on the post. So you can't stop Anthony Davis, but that's another physical body that you can put on him. So
to make him work for
his value is he's going to keep the defense honest on the other end, right? He's a very capable scorer. He's a very capable guy of getting 20, 25 in a playoff series, and he can go out and defend multiple positions. You can't have enough of those. I
love how we're making Marcus Morris like
you can't
all
have
NBA player at this
those
point.
Players
he's never made an All-Star team. He's having the best season of his career by a mile on a dumpster fire Knicks team.
I think it'd be worse if they added an All-Star. because he gets.
That's not what they do.
Needed a
Right.
role player.
Yeah, you need guys like, you can't have enough of those guys. I mean, Marcus Morris is going to be a huge pickup for them, and we'll see how it all turns out.
As good as the Clippers are configured roster-wise, and the Marcus Morris acquisition was great, a perfect fit, I still like the Lakers because of those two guys behind Jason, LeBron and AD. And again, we talk about Anthony Davis, and you mentioned this earlier. You got arguably two of the three top players in LA, and one being LeBron James, two being Kawhi, and then three being AD. I think that has to change, where AD has to be the best player. Like you mentioned this on the floor. AD has to be that guy. LeBron James is 35 years old, and those stats that you just put out, they have to change. And I think the way they change is you make sure you're implementing him and giving him the go-ahead to say, look, this is your team. You carry us. LeBron is going to do what he does regardless. That's what great players do.
But Greg,
Anthony Davis has to be extremely special.
They're 0-2 against the Clippers this year. And
close games.
And Anthony Davis has a total of 4 points in those two losses.
That's about his average.
In the fourth quarter, he has a total of 4 points.
Just remember, LeBron and AD have played about 50 games together now. They're still working through it.
What about the Clippers?
What
about the Clippers working?
Well, they don't have a big guy. Anthony Davis goes
Anthony
Davis goes from being a one everything to like sharing the ball with LeBron. A little different than the Clippers. No mercy. Golden State, the Warriors, added Andrew Wiggins in a surprising deadline deal that sent D'Angelo Russell to Minnesota. In his Warriors debut, Wiggins dropped 24 on the Lakers, accounted for 5 of their 15 steals in a loss to LeBron. The Warriors have the worst record in the NBA after dominating the league for so long, but owner Joe Lacob optimistic about the team going forward as Steph and Clay continue rehab. Joe Lacob told The Athletic, I feel pretty damn good, and our fan base should feel great about our future. Chris Broussard, the Warriors, should they feel good about their dynasty returning next year when Steph and Clay come back?
I love our colleague Nick Wright from First Things First, but I don't know what he was thinking about when he killed this Andrew Wiggins trade. I think this was a darn near home run for the Clippers.
No, it was a grand slam.
Yeah, it was a great trade, and they will definitely be a contender. Now, I'm not saying they're definitely going to be better than the Clippers. Just looking at the two teams, I would take the Clippers probably, and maybe the Lakers will be better. But the West has really all of a sudden gotten, it's always been tough, but it's gotten better, much better. And so I'm just saying they'll be a contender. They will have a legitimate chance to win the West and win a championship. You're going to have your core from the first championship back, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, plus Andrew Wiggins. Now, Andrew Wiggins is a 22-point scorer. And remember, Andrew Wiggins, he's 24 years old. He's athletic. Everybody's killing him because he's clearly not a 1 or a 2 on a great team. Clearly, at least not this early in his career. But guess who else wasn't a 1 or a 2 on a great team? A great team. Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala, there was early in his career, everybody loved him. He's the next, he's going to carry the torch from AI in Philadelphia. And then you saw he's not that number 1 star. Okay, then he gets to Denver, plays great as a role player, gets to Golden State, becomes darn near a star in Golden State as a role player. Now, Andrew Wiggins does not have the intangibles that Iguodala has. He doesn't, at this point, he hasn't shown the heart. He hasn't shown the winning intangibles. He hasn't shown it yet. But I think now he goes from being a 1 or 2 or 2 to a 4th guy. He's a 4th guy in Golden State. Now I think in that winning culture, he can focus on defending. He's long and athletic. Hasn't defended yet to this point in his career, but the tools are there. And then I think he can also hit the open jump shot, the 3-pointer. He can run the floor. With Andrew Wiggins as your 3rd scorer, your 4th guy, I love it for Golden State. And this is what people aren't talking about. They're going to get a lottery pick this year. Might be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Okay? Then, I don't know what Minnesota was thinking in that trade, but they get next year's number 1 pick from Minnesota that's only top 3 protected. Minnesota will probably be in the lottery again next year.
100%.
So that's going to be that could be the number 4 or 5 pick.
Yeah.
So I think Golden State, yes, they will be back again. I don't know if they'll be better than Clippers or Lakers, but they'll be back in contention.
Read my lips. The Warriors dynasty, whatever you want to call it, has been officially eliminated once Kevin Durant left. It's not happening. I do not see the Warriors winning anything anytime soon. And it has nothing to do. You could talk about adding all the players, about the lottery picks and Wiggins. It's about Steph and Clay. It's about
the
those
best
guys.
backcourt ever?
Yeah, well, whatever you want to call it, that whole dynasty that everybody talks about is totally fraudulent.
Oh, God.
The only reason they had
a dynasty?
No, the only reason they had a dynasty is because KD joined the team. Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green, they won one championship. That was without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. That's the one that they won. Iguodala was the MVP, not Steph, not Clay. Hold on.
Shouldn't have been.
And then they played Cleveland and were the first team. That was the 73 and 9
they won
team.
73 games.
That's right.
Wow,
regular
pretty
season.
good.
But they choked down the NBA Finals. The first team in the history of the NBA to choke down a 3-1 lead. They lost 2 of the 3 games at home.
Yeah.
They lost 3 games in a row. They hadn't lost 3 games in a row all year. It's a fraudulent dynasty. Unless Kevin Durant's coming back, they're not winning again. Stop the romanticizing of Steph and Clay. Let me give you Steph's. You ready? Listen, I'm still waiting for Steph to hit a big shot when it matters. Steph Curry is 0-8 on go-ahead shots with less than 20 seconds to play in a postseason. And he's played in 112 postseason games. He's not a big-time player. He doesn't make big shots when it matters. They're not winning any more championships. That thing, they moved to San Francisco. They got the new building. I hope you enjoy it because you're not putting any banners in San Francisco.
Greg Jennings, will the Warriors contend next year?
I think the Warriors will contend next year,
Yes.
and a large in part because of this acquisition of Andrew Wiggins. And Chris, you hit it on the head on every point you made. When I saw this trade happen, and I saw it was great not only for the Warriors, but I think it's going to be beneficial for Andrew Wiggins. Why? Because he's not only going to a team who understands how to win, he's going to a team that doesn't have the guys on the court right now, on the floor right now. So he can establish himself as one of the guys right now, and they can identify, okay, what does he do well? What does he not do well? But he will be alongside Draymond Green, one of the hardest working, toughest individuals in this sport right now. And I think he will be the person that will change the mentality of an Andrew Wiggins. Why? Because he's going to have to defend. They made Kevin Durant become a better defender when he got to the Golden State Warriors. He will defend now, and then, to your point, he's not the 1 or the 2 option. He can kind of be in the background and still give you 20-plus points a game.
Yeah, but when Steph's the number 1 option, they don't win.
This is the perfect storm. This is the perfect storm for Andrew Wiggins and the Golden State Warriors. And with a healthy Clay, with a healthy Steph, with a healthy Draymond, with a healthy Andrew Wiggins next year, they are going to be a
Greg, they're going to win a championship in the next 2 years? Yes or no?
They have an
I'm
opportunity
asking you, yes? Are they going to win? Not an opportunity.
Yes, they will.
Why?
They definitely have a chance.
Yes,
they will.
The Warriors will not only return to the finals, they will win a championship.
You want to bet on that?
You know, Greg, you know a lot about Minnesota, right? You're in that region, okay? Tell me about the losing culture the Timberwolves have. Andrew Wiggins has had 4 different coaches in 6 years in the league. This guy is immensely talented. He's going to slide into that Harrison Barnes role. That Harrison Barnes is, hey, we just need 15 a night. Don't, throw up a million bricks.
Wasn't Wiggins the first overall pick?
He was. Wiggins can score.
So now he's a role player.
The winning culture. That's what they need.
They need.
Andre Iguodala, you pivot to the number 3 or 4 position. The Warriors will 100% be back. And this idea that they didn't have a dynasty. You do realize they went to the finals
without Kevin Durant.
5 years in a row. They went to 5
Durant and Russell Westbrook.
When Kevin Durant was hurt last year, they should have won the championship.
And this idea that Steph Curry is like a choker.
Get hurt.
You do realize in the NBA Finals,
no, they wouldn't have.
Steph Curry is like number 6th on the list.
How many MVPs has he won in the finals? It doesn't matter. I just gave you the numbers. He can't make a big shot when it matters.
You realize how small the sample size is? That's like you going over 8 today.
The game is 48 minutes long. It's not 48 seconds long.
But there were chances that he could have done that. I mean, he hasn't even won an. If it wasn't for Kevin Durant, they wouldn't have won those.
You don't know that. You
Just
say
I
that
do.
like it's
I'll
a
book
you
it right
don't.
now.
I do because he was the best
What did Kevin
player.
Durant win before he went to Golden State?
No, but I'm saying
what did
once
he
they-
win?
I'm saying
what
once
did he
they
win?
added him.
I'm listening.
I'm asking you once they added
What
him
did
to
he
a
win,
team.
Rob?
And what did they win? They won one
And
championship.
they went to the championship the next year.
When LeBron
Won in
had
2
nobody.
years.
When LeBron
Oh,
had
so you
nobody.
belittling.
And
So,
then they
hold
choked
on.
down the championship. They were up 3-1.
So let's belittle Kawhi's
No, I'm
championship
asking
because
you.
KD and
No,
Clay
I'm
weren't
not-
there. Is
I'm
that
not
what we
do
doing?
that. I'll do
Let's
that.
belittle
I'm not.
Isaiah Thomas's first
I'm
championship
telling you.
because Magic
No.
was hurt. Is that what we doing?
No, I'm telling you that plus choking down a 3-1 lead tells me where they were.
Why are you praising Kevin
I'm
Durant?
telling
He choked
you.
down a 3-1 lead the series
Not
right
in
before.
the NBA Finals. It's never been done.
It don't matter. It was the conference finals.
It's never been done. If Steph's that guy, he wins 1 out of 3 games.
Be consistent.
He wins 1 out of 3 games. 2 of the games were at home and they lost.
Stop it.
I'm telling you.
That's foolish.
There's no
I can't
dynasty
believe
there.
you're hating.
hilarious.
It was
Five
a
straight finals
dynasty.
appearances, not a
There's no
dynasty.
dynasty.
The hit boat.
No.
That's all you
What's the
doing.
definition
You
of
don't
a
even believe
dynasty?
it.
Give it
No,
to me.
It was a dynasty.
Five
It was
straight trips to the
three
finals.
without-
How was that not a dynasty?
I'm saying without Kevin Durant, they don't go back to all those
You
championships.
don't know that.
Yes, I do.
How?
He was the best player when they played LeBron and
He
them.
was, no doubt about it.
The reason
No
why
question.
Kevin Durant decided to go is because he identified, I can't beat these guys. They're gonna
They needed him.
be
He
here
couldn't
every
beat 'em.
year.
No, but that's not the. But I'm telling you that those guys, Draymond, Steph, and Clay, if you're using them as the mold to say that they're going to be right back where they were, it's not true. The 2 championships that they went to, they were helped by injuries, and
Stop bringing that up unless you're going to do it for everybody.
They choked down. Why don't you accept
let
that?
me ask
Did
you
they
this.
choke in that series because they
They
were
did.
3-1?
They get- I mean,
One
Draymond
of
was
the
suspended.
arguably the best player in the history
choked.
of
Of the league.
basketball
Brought him
went
back.
ballistic
No.
on him.
They were 73-9.
Even with that, they still needed Draymond to be suspended to change the momentum
Just
for
a
the
quick note.
whole
Hey,
game.
73-9 and they choked.
I
They
love
didn't
how-
have to
That's
win
the
one
point,
game.
Rob
They
Parker
They won a championship, okay, and then they won 73 games, more than any
And
other
went
team
to
in
the
history.
finals.
And they lost to the finals, okay.
No harm in that.
Magic, Bird, Kareem, so many people lost in the finals.
Nobody
You gonna kill
lost
them
a
for that?
3-1 lead. Nobody except for Steph
praise
Curry.
Kevin Durant then.
Steph Curry is the author of
Yeah.
that.
Don't
He's
praise
supposed to
Kevin
be that
Durant.
So
guy.
Because
funny.
he lost
This is
the 3-1
funny.
lead.
So Steph Curry, he's boiling his career down to 8 shots, 8 misses in the
Right.
final 20
Come
seconds.
on, man.
The guy wins back-to-back MVPs. Nobody in the league history has been unanimous MVP. Not Jordan, not LeBron. Curry, back-to-back MVPs. But who cares about full season? It's all about 8
he
shots
only
with Rob
changed the
Parker.
way basketball is played.
All right, I got
It's funny because he can't win an MVP in the finals, though.
Who cares? He won.
He is
got
the
he got
hatingest brother
championship.
I've ever met.
No mercy.
The Cowboys appear to be all in on Dak Prescott despite swirling rumors surrounding Tom Brady. Michael Irvin added some fuel to the Brady to Dallas fire, but later walked back his comments on the situation. But signing Brady would certainly be an all-time, all-in move for Jerry Jones, who turned 78 in October and obviously isn't getting any younger as he chases another Super Bowl title. Greg Jennings, which quarterback will have a better year next year, Dak Prescott or Tom Brady?
Dak Prescott.
Wow.
Dak Prescott will have the better year. We already saw what he's working with and what the year he's coming off of with the talent that was around him. Now, we understand that Amari Cooper is not under contract, Randall Cobb not under contract. There are some variables that need to still be put in place there to help support what he was able to do and establish for that team. And he doesn't have a contract with the Dallas Cowboys, let alone all those other guys. But let's say he does get signed by the Dallas Cowboys, which I believe he will. With Mike McCarthy being now at the head coach position, Kellen Moore at the offensive coordinator position, him establishing that relationship, understanding the importance of having a relationship with someone in the offense to continue to progress and build on that. And then you add Mike McCarthy, who we've seen what he was able to do with an Aaron Rodgers and the Brett Favres and those guys. His resume precedes him as far as being able to get the most out of those guys. You can arguably say whatever you want to, argue me up and down about Mike McCarthy, but he's going to make Dak Prescott a better quarterback. If this all works out and he is with the Dallas Cowboys, assuming that it will, Dak Prescott will definitely have the better season. Again, we've mentioned it. Tom Brady is going to be 40 years old. unless he gets into the perfect storm, and you talk about the Chargers, everyone automatically assumes that you insert Tom Brady in with the Chargers and they're going to be great. Well, that is not always what the case is when you're going into a completely new situation, offensive scheme, a coaching staff, culture. You don't know what the culture is, and you have to now create that. Tom Brady being with the Patriots, if they were to put pieces around him, I think he would have a better chance of being up there with Dak Prescott as far as their play. But Dak Prescott clearly, by far, will have the better season next year.
All right, Boston, I'm saying it would be Tom Brady if you gave him the same weapons that Dak Prescott had, where everybody, including Chris Broussard, said they were going to the Super Bowl.
Well, we don't know
That's how talented it was.
We're talking about next year.
Well,
Let's not talk about what he had, because we don't know if Dak Prescott's going to have the same weapons.
I'm just saying that Tom Brady can do that, and we've seen age quarterbacks win if you put them in the right situation and circumstance. We saw Peyton Manning win. You already
we never
know.
saw a 43-year-old
But
win.
we saw Peyton Manning, who was the Tin Man in that Super Bowl, could barely move around, and he was able to do just enough and not hurt the team, but the defense carried him. All I'm saying is, people last year thought with the pieces that the Cowboys had that they were going to the Super Bowl. And not only did they not go to the Super Bowl, Greg Jennings, they didn't even make the playoffs because Dak Prescott wasn't able to win the big games that they needed to win. They went to Philadelphia, the division right there waiting for them, right? All they had to do was go beat a depleted Philadelphia team. They were having quarterbacks as wide receivers because they had nothing for Carson Wentz. And what did Dak do? Laid a goose egg, no touchdowns in a big game, really like a playoff game. All I'm saying is they're not buying all the way into Dak, and that's why Michael Irvin came out with this. That's why he went and put that out there about people around the Cowboys, because they know with that talent base, if they would insert Tom Brady, protect Tom Brady, and have the weapons that they have, they would have a better chance to win a championship than Dak Prescott. That's why that story was put out.
You don't believe
you
that.
You are running wild with this Tom Brady to Dallas story that even Michael Irvin himself has walked back.
Only because they talked to him.
Do you know that?
I feel like
All right. Now look, Dak Prescott is going to have the better year individually, okay? Now, I mean, he's, 27?
Don't matter. If you can't play, don't matter how old
He's
you are.
26 years old. He's not going to get worse. And Tom Brady at 43 is not going to get better. At best, he'll probably stay the same, maybe slightly better.
I thought you said the Patriots won 12 games last year. Oh, so you tell me, wasn't Tom Brady the quarterback?
No, they had the number one defense in the league.
Hold on.
Last year you were talking about how great their defense was.
Yeah.
Which quarterback's going to have the better individual season? Dak last year threw for more yards per game, about 50 more yards per game, more touchdowns, better QBR, better completion percentage. That's going to be the case next year. Now, if Brady gets in the right situation, maybe it's New England and they add some skilled position players. Maybe it's Indianapolis, Tampa Bay, whatever, the Chargers. He might win at a higher clip than Dak. I think the Cowboys will be good, but Brady will probably be on a team that is really good too. So if you're looking at winning, maybe Brady will have, go further. But individual season, I think Dak's going to have a better individual season.
Yeah, it's got to be Dak Prescott. Now, you do make a good point over here, Rob. If somehow the Patriots get Greg Olsen at tight end and A.J. Green of the Bengals as a free agent, Brady's numbers will be better. But Tom Brady was not a top 15 quarterback in this league this year by any statistical measure. You can look at whatever you want. He was not a top 15 quarterback. Dak had his best season in the league. Again, I don't know if you buy the stats. You like the win-loss record stuff. I feel like
only when it supports his argument.
Only because he was 2-7 against teams 500 or better.
Again, but
it's
2-7 is indicative of his coach, of his defense.
But it
has nothing to do with just you can't bring out quarterback.
When they went to New Orleans, right? New Orleans didn't even score a touchdown and beat Dak Prescott and
Dak Prescott did not have a game.
Okay, he didn't have a good game there.
Tom Brady was awful
no
down
touchdowns.
the stretch. Awful.
I got plenty of examples.
He needs this receiver to be on the field against Philly.
Yeah.
Was Amari Cooper out there? Every play.
Amari Cooper was there.
He was in and out.
Did Dak have a good game? Did Dak have a good game that game?
I may be wrong, but I believe the Cowboys led the league in drop passes.
They were up there. Yeah.
They were up there.
They were third in the conference.
There we go.
I want to
point differential.
That's not
This team is
an
good.
explanation.
Their coach was awful.
I want to say this too. So let's say Tom Brady goes to one of these stacked teams. Let's just call it the Chargers. And they're stacked. Or New England brings in all this talent. Dak Prescott still is going to have the better season. Why? Because no one is going to ask Tom Brady to do what they're going to ask Dak Prescott to do at the quarterback position at this stage in their careers. You're going to ask more out of Dak Prescott. You're going to get more out of Dak Prescott in result. It's just like basketball. Everybody talks about, what am I going to get from this shooter or this? Well, if you give him more shots, I guarantee you he's going to score more points. If you give Dak Prescott more opportunities, there is no chance Tom Brady is going to outperform him individually. You're not going to ask a 43-year-old quarterback to come into whatever situation, even New England, and they know him better than anyone, and say, hey, Tom, win for us again. That's not going to be the narrative. That's not where he is in his career. It's just not going to happen. Sorry, Rob, you are dead wrong on this one.
I'm not wrong, and I'm telling you, you guys don't want to believe it, but Dak Prescott and Matt Stafford are closer than you really want to believe.
Stop it.
And the only difference is one playoff win. Matt Stafford puts up all these numbers for the Lions. You know that he's prolific. He's a prolific passer, has really big numbers. But they never were going to win in Detroit with Matt Stafford, and they won't win with Dak Prescott. Despite all the talent, for them not to make the playoffs a year ago where the Eagles were broken down, the Giants were a bad team, is ridiculous.
I agree.
That they didn't make the playoffs.
And they made adjustments. They fired their coach.
Would you admit that last year?
Yes,
I agree.
But they made it. Hold on, you comparing to Matt Stafford. He's played 10 years. How many times has he made the playoffs?
I think 2 or 3.
Okay, Dak's made it twice in 4 years.
Wait. Hold on.
2?
How many times?
I think 2.
Okay,
There's a big difference between 2 and 3.
I think it's 2.
Dak has made it twice in 4 years and beat the great Russell Wilson in the playoffs. Before Dak got there with Tony Romo, in their previous 6 years, Dallas had made the playoffs once.
So you're blaming
so
Dak
stop
Prescott for not
blaming
making the playoffs?
Yes, he is.
You're putting the full blame on Dak Prescott that Dallas, with the third best point differential in the NFC, missed the playoffs.
Yes, because you can't look at the point differential.
Why?
He piled up numbers against the bad teams. He started the season 3-0. They played Washington, the Dolphins, and
what about the previous 3 years, Rob?
No, I'm talking about now. We're talking about now.
You can't erase his first 3 years.
We don't even have to erase that. If he didn't put up those numbers, you would have been making a stink about the fact that he didn't put up those numbers.
No, but I'm saying, but it matters who you beat, Greg. You know that if you're trying to win. Are you trying to win a Super Bowl or not?
He beat
Are the
Russell
Cowboys
Wilson,
trying to win a
Rob.
Super Bowl?
I'm going to say this. This is no slight against Tom Brady. It's just where he is in his career. So before all the New England fans go crazy and say no one.
I'm champion Tom Brady.
It's not.
You're such
It
a
has
Brady
nothing to do
fan.
with
Take the
talent of Tom Brady. It's where he is in his career, which is why I'm going with Dak Prescott.
Well said, Greg.
No mercy.
The 76ers haven't come close to living up to preseason expectations, which had them as one of the main contenders in the East. And the weird season continued yesterday when they barely beat the lowly Bulls by 7. But before the final whistle, the Sixers crowd let the team have it, booing them at Wells Fargo Arena. And after a late three-pointer to seal the deal, Joel Embiid appeared to shush the crowd in the most Philly way possible. Oh, boy. Chris Broussard, can the 76ers save their season?
They can, because I think they have the best talent in the Eastern Conference, the most talented roster. Do I think, and I actually like the moves they made at the deadline, getting Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson Jr., great three-point shooters. They'll help in that regard. But I don't think they will. I think Milwaukee will win the East. A good season for Philadelphia at this point. If they get to the conference finals and play Milwaukee tough, I think they'll have a shot. But, I think that'd be a good season. But they've got issues. Joel Embiid did a great job spelling it out a week ago. I've been saying it for at least 2 years. There's problem with their spacing because Ben Simmons can't shoot and doesn't shoot. And Joel Embiid, I hate seeing him out at the three-point line, taking 4 threes a game. He's only a 33% shooter from that range. He might as well be 6'5" when he's standing out by the three-point line all the time. And what they have to do, particularly in the fourth quarter, is Ben Simmons, to get the opponent to guard him, you have to put him by the basket because he could score down there. And if you put him on the perimeter, they're not going to guard him. And so that forces for spacing. Embiid has to go outside for a long 2 or a 3-point shot. And that's what Joel was talking about. I think some of it's Joel wanting to be outside a little bit too. But I think Philadelphia, if they go out in the second round or earlier, or they get blown out in the conference finals, then I think they got one of 2 options. One, trade Joel Embiid. Of the 2 stars, I would keep Simmons because I think in today's NBA, he could be like a point center. You know, you could play him down low when you want to. He obviously can handle the ball and push the ball. The lane would be wide open. He can drive. And he's 6'10". So you're not that small with him on the floor, even if you get rid of Embiid. You still have Horford and Tobias Harris. Or option 2, bring in a coach who you know. Now, I don't know who that is. Phil Jackson's, you know, he's not on the market. But a coach that can work. I'm just saying, no, he's gone. He's too, you know, he's not coming back to coaching. If he were available, I would love to bring him in with those guys. But I think you got to try to get a coach that can work those 2 tough personalities together and get the most out of them. But option 1, trading Embiid, may be the way they have to go.
I'm largely with you here, Chris. I think they can salvage their season. Again, the East is pretty weak, right? We can agree it's the Bucks who are having a historically great season, leading the league in everything. Toronto looks pretty good. I don't know if I trust them in a playoff series against the Sixers, who have more talent. Sixers should have won that series last year. Kawhi hits the prayer in Game 7 from the corner. But this is Joel Embiid against Ben Simmons, and it's the modern Shaq and Penny. Shaq and Penny in Orlando were great, took down Jordan when he came back playing baseball. And then the next year, after getting swept, Shaq was hurt, and Penny starts to emerge as a superstar. I'm telling you guys, I'm with you. Ben Simmons is a potential superstar. I don't care that he can't shoot. I know the guys on Instagram and Twitter are going to kill me. He can't shoot. It doesn't matter. He can be, as you said, a point center, a Draymond Green, if you will. But he can't do that with Joel Embiid there. I think more likely they'll fire their coach after the season. Maybe Elton Brand in the front office gets dusted. But I would guess they'll win a round in the playoffs and then get smoked in the second round, and changes are going to happen.
No, they're not going to salvage their season. It's not going to happen. They have a great roster of players and individuals, but that's what they are. They're a bunch of talented individuals that don't know how to win, specifically against the better upper echelon teams. You talk about Boston, you talk about Milwaukee, even the Raptors right now, looking the way they look on this streak that they're on, they will blow the Sixers out of the water because they play as a team. They have an identity. When you look at the 76ers, what do they want to be? They can be dominant in the paint if they really wanted to, but they don't do it because Joel Embiid, to your point, he gets pushed out because Ben Simmons. So I don't like their chances. And when you look at the East and Milwaukee specifically, they're not trumping that Milwaukee Bucks team with Giannis, just his mentality, his approach, his willingness to develop his game and extend his shooting beyond the three-point line. And Ben Simmons hasn't even decided to take 1 3-pointer a game now. Like, I just don't see it happening. They're done.
Everybody was talking about, salvaging the season. How about this whole thing? We were all told to trust the process. How about blow up the process? Because obviously there's a chemistry. It doesn't fit together. Let's just be honest. I think it was nice, and everybody thought, oh, look, they got these pieces or whatever. It doesn't work to be able to win it. Will they win a lot of games? Yeah, they'll win a lot of games. Will they make the playoffs? Make the play. Will they really have a chance to win a championship with these two guys? I'm with you. I think you got to go a different route. Pick the guy you want to build around and try to get some other pieces. These two do not go together. That's why there's going to be issues, and that's why they won't move forward.
What some people close to that team say is that they're 2 stars, Simmons and Embiid. Right now, they're more concerned with being celebrities rather than superstar basketball players. Like, they're into all that it brings. And as much as I like Ben Simmons and as much as I would pick him to be the guy to build around, the fact that he has not improved his jump shot more than he has, is indicative of that mentality. I mean, Giannis, who's much more awkward and less fluid than Ben Simmons,
you can see he worked
has
on
improved
it. Right.
it. Zion, who I'm not saying he's a great shooter, but you can see his improvement on three-point shoots. I mean, Ben
Lonzo
Simmons.
Ball.
Right, yes, that's a great example. Like,
Is he making free throws this
for
year?
him to not be shooting jump shots and three-pointers, it doesn't make any sense.
Let me. Greg made a good point. He said Milwaukee would, blow the Sixers off the floor. Who are the 4 best players on the court? If you look at the Sixers, if they happen to play Milwaukee, Giannis is number 1, followed by Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and I would take Tobias Harris over Chris Middleton. So your point about talent, the 76ers have a lot of it.
But it's not about, about team.
Right,
Greg,
and
just
that's why I think Chris is right. They will sooner go to get a new coach in there who can get them together, because you can't just blow this up. I know it's easy to say, let's blow it up.
So you wouldn't trade in the offseason,
I would
look
first
at
try to bring in a coach
year?
who can get these guys together on the same page. Listen, this Toronto coach, Nick Nurse, has done a phenomenal job with a team that doesn't have a star. Pascal Siakam
Philadelphia needs more than a nurse. They need a doctor.
Yeah.
The Sixers,
That's your best joke in 2 years.
No, it ain't.
Well, he feels good. We finally didn't beat him up in one of these
I give you
segments.
good jokes every night on the radio show.
After Conor McGregor's 42nd win over Donald Cerrone, his next opponent is on everyone's mind. His former rival, Khabib, is apparently uninterested in a rematch, while Conor's manager recently addressed a potential MMA fight against boxer Terrence Crawford, or another high-profile boxing match against Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather Jr. Broussard, do you think Conor's next fight will be MMA or boxing?
Well, it should be MMA, but it depends on what he's looking for. If you're looking to win and become a legend in your sport, then you got to stick with MMA. And I think even though Khabib won't fight him, when his manager talked about it, it was more like, well, Conor's got to prove himself again, which I get, because you the champion, you don't need him. If Khabib beats Tony Ferguson, I think a Conor McGregor-Tony Ferguson fight would be great in the MMA. Now, if Conor says, I want to make money, then box. And he could fight Manny Pacquiao. He could fight Floyd and make a ton of money. I would hate to see that again.
Yes.
But he could fight Manny Pacquiao and make a lot of money. The problem is Manny would knock him out inside of 2 rounds, because Manny wouldn't play. Floyd played around with
anybody out.
No, Manny would knock out. Floyd knocked out Conor McGregor. Okay, and toyed with him for 7-8 rounds, and then when he decided to, he knocked him out. Manny would demolish him because he's not going to play around with him. So, and Terrence Crawford, let me flip it. Terrence Crawford don't need to get in the octagon. I would recommend no boxer move into the octagon and no MMA fighter move into the boxing ring. Stay where you at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's better suited, number 1, for the octagon. That's where he's made his hay. I get it. To your point, if he's looking for money, yeah, the boxing will provide that. But look, Khabib, this is the fight that he wants, and the way he disrespected Khabib, I think this is why Khabib is. I don't really think it has a lot to do with him proving himself. Khabib is like, no, this man flat out disrespected me, so I'm not giving him this shot.
Why give him a payday?
I'm not giving him this shot. That's the biggest issue here, and I think that's what Khabib is hanging his hat on more than anything. So for Conor, he's going to have to just take what he can get.
I don't even know, even boxing, you say the money's there. If I'm a consumer, am I really paying to watch Conor box? I saw.
You really are. Though.
No, I know.
You might not, but
I'm just saying,
millions of people will.
But I'm just saying, he didn't show me enough that he's a boxer.
It's not even
that I want to see that. I'm just saying, I wouldn't spend any money. Would I go to your house, Chris, if you had it?
Yes,
I'll go to your house if you had it.
Show up as
but
well.
I'm not paying for it.
I ain't paying for it either.
Yeah, no,
you're just extremely cheap.
He is an entertainer. He is someone we just saw him get back into the octagon, and the fanfare that came out to come and watch and support. It was huge. So that's his arena. I think that he has to kind of stay locked into that, get the fights that he possibly can get, and then hope that he can get the Khabib fight.
He was incredibly impressive, because Cowboy Cerrone's not bad.
No.
He just smashed him in 40 seconds?
Right out of the gate, yeah.
Here's the thing. Do you think if he gets to fight with Khabib at some point, he can't beat Khabib?
No.
There's no way he can beat Khabib.
No.
I would never say no way.
What?
Nah,
when they stood,
he was humiliated by him.
Yes, and Khabib is an outstanding guy on the ground. And once he gets Conor to the ground, it's over. And even when they stood toe to toe, he knocked Conor down.
He's more physical.
Right. He's just better, period.
Yeah. It ain't happening. I like Conor. I like the entertainment.
I would like to see the rematch.
I would love to see the rematch. Obviously everyone would love to see the rematch, but Khabib, again, he's not happening.
But I would be into it.
All right, guys, that'll be it for us.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.